Different week, but the same story. The Commanders lose to the Dallas Cowboys 30-23 for their 12th loss of the season. Today, I'll be giving you a full breakdown on how the Commanders fell once again to the Cowboys. Let's waste no more time and let's get into it. So first, I want to start with the defense. And I want to start with the defense because, once again, I'm let down by them, but not disappointed. Because when you're disappointed with somebody, that means you have high expectations for them. I've learned, as we are now heading into the final week of this dreadful Commander season, to have my expectations lowered. And they are. So who I really want to start off with, the position group on the defense I want to start off with, is the defensive backfield. Because my goodness, they were bad. Now, if you look at paper and look at the stats, it doesn't look that bad. CeeDee Lamb, 5 catches, 46 yards. George Pickens, 4 catches, 78 yards. It doesn't seem that bad, but when you really watch the game and how they picked us apart at will, it was that bad. Mikey Sarenstill. He, to me now, is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hot. And for those that don't get the reference, it's either you're really hot or you're really cold. Mikey is either making one of the lone turnovers of the entire season or getting killed on the outside by a receiver and missing a tackle and letting him get a first down. And it's so many aspects that go to it. Number one, he is undersized for an outside corner. And of course, his primary position is nickel, but because of all the injuries and such, he's playing outside and he's undersized. Just look at Mikey going against 6'3" George Pickens or the taller CeeDee Lamb. He's been outsized and outmatched week in and week out. And that's even if he's in position, because there's a lot of times where he's not even in position. And he's not the fastest guy, not the tallest guy, not the biggest guy. So he has a lot of things going against him. And I think it just gets exposed week in and week out. And he has to figure out who he's going to be in the league. Are you going to be a nickel corner where your size allows you to be at your best? Because if that's the case, you got to do better. You got to do better, because the last season and earlier this season at nickel, I just wasn't seeing it. And they were picking you apart, Mikey. They were picking you apart whenever they needed a first down. Well, let me not even go to Mikey, because your brother on the other side, Jonathan Jones, he was getting it too. We weren't that great against them on third down, but it didn't matter how good we were on third down, because the Cowboys went 6 for 6 on fourth down. May I repeat myself? 6 for 6 on fourth down. Yes, 6 for 6 on fourth down. That's just inexcusable on both the corners and the other guy I have a bone to pick with, Quan Martin. Quan Martin, he did, of course, let off that red zone touchdown last week against the Eagles. And this week again, he let off a touchdown in the red zone against Dallas Goedert. In the red zone, he's just outmatched because he's a much smaller safety. He's going against these 6'4", 6'5" tight ends when he's only about 5'10", 5'11", getting boxed out. He may be in position in the red zone, but when you're going against these huge tight ends, a good position is a bad position. And he's getting exposed week in and week out. And that's what they do. You can tell they isolate the receivers, make sure they have man coverage. And when they see they have man coverage and Quan Martin is on that tight end, they're going to go after him, throw it up, and let him make a play. And that's just the first touchdown that he let off against the Cowboys, because the real inexcusable one, 86-yard touchdown bomb, and the receiver just goes right past Quan Martin, right past. And we're talking about Turpin right now. One of, if not the fastest guy in the NFL. This receiver is one of the fastest receivers in the NFL, and you just let him blow right past you. You got to know your personnel. They have scouting reports every week. If you see this guy running down streaks down the middle, back up. Back up as fast as you can, because he's going to blow right past you, and that's what happened. So we were just picked apart. Mikey Sarenstill picked apart. Jonathan Jones, I didn't even get into it. He's also undersized and lacks the speed. 5'9". I think he's about 32, 33 years old. He's an older cat, man. And our DB, we just don't have the guys. We could have the perfect coverage and we still wouldn't be able to handle them. Now, I also want to go to the defensive line, who got manhandled. And we didn't have Deron Payne. He's our best defensive lineman. He was out. And it showed how much of impact he does have. So say what you want about Deron, but he does have an impact on his defense because, man, it was bad. The Cowboys finished with 211 rushing yards. And even when the starter, Javonte Williams, went out, who was having great success with 54 rushing yards, when he went out, Malik Davis came in, and he had over 100 yards. 103 yards, averaging over 5 yards per carry. And I actually want to rewind to Javonte Williams because, my goodness. Mikey, I already talked to you about you enough, but I'm going to have to bring you back, buddy. What he did to you was bad. That was bad. I don't know why you would go head up with a guy and not rap and try to get the big hit against a guy that you know will run you over, Mikey. You know it. And that's what happened. But we couldn't stop the run. We were getting pushed back. And also, we couldn't get any pressure. And that's also what led to 6 for 6 on 4th down. I'm sorry. I can't get over that. That is just, I don't think I've ever seen something like that. 6 for 6 on 4th down. Like that's just crazy to me. And I know some people might watch this video and say, hey, Johnny Newton, he had his breakout game, 3 sacks. And he did. He impacted the game with the sacks. But, man, he was getting dominated against the run. A lot of that was on his shoulders up his gaps. So he did have the stats, but if you look at the tape, it was not good. It was not good. So now we're going to go over to the offense. And just like how I said, the defensive line got blown off by the Cowboys, so did our offensive line. Offensive line, if you watch that game, did not get any push most of the game on those run plays. But they were in our backfield so fast. And thank goodness for Bill Crosby-Merritt, who had over 100 yards. And a lot of those yards, he had to create it himself. He was dodging players 1 yard behind the backfield, right at the line of scrimmage, turning a negative 2-yard play into a 7-yard play. Now, a lot of people might look at me and say, hey, Bill had over 100 yards. What do you mean the O-line didn't get a push? We had 138 yards rushing total. But you have to think, 72 of those yards was from one play. Now, we did block that play great. Ben Sinnott, Josh Connolly, they did great. We did block that play great. But say you take that one play away, we had 66 total rushing yards. If you take that one play away, we had 66 total rushing yards. That's just a recipe for a loss, especially against a Cowboys team who had 38 minutes of time of possession against our 21. So I also want to go to Josh Johnson, who actually played a good game. I was pretty hard on him last week, and I look back, I shouldn't have been that hard. He was cold, his first action of the season, and he was terrible. But this week, he was pretty good. He was a serviceable quarterback that was quick, decisive, and made a lot of the right reads. Now, he's been on 14 different teams, and every time he ran that ball, it showed. Man, he was in quicksand. But at this point in his career, he is not a scrambler. And that is not what we need to be him to be doing at all. But he was good. But against a Cowboys team who puts up over 30 per game, you got to be better than good to beat them. And that's where we fell. So that's my full breakdown of the Week 17 Commanders versus Cowboys loss once again. One more week to go, guys. Tell me, what are your thoughts, your predictions against the Eagles? And are you excited for the game or are you ready for the season to be over? Let me know in the comment section. See you next time.